Hello there everyone, welcome to my very first Let's Play. My name is Crosspiece, and this is Populous Free the Beginning. Just before we begin, I'm going to turn my options so that we have an 800 by 600 resolution. Ooh, how very low tech. Regardless, we are going to be beginning, not with the first level, but with the tutorial. Now, the tutorial is something that may keep in, not too sure, we'll see how it goes. But it's just a basic introduction to the game, and we start on the world view. This allows us to quickly zip around the planet that we're on, and to see what's up. And this is the actual main game itself. As you can see, the graphics are definitely from 1998, but it's still a very enjoyable game regardless. I'm very looking forward to doing this Let's Play, and I hope you enjoy it. So we can move around using the arrow keys, and we can select our main character, the Shaman. We'll see what she'll be useful for later, but for the moment all she can do is pray at obelisks, things that only a Shaman can pray at. Now we have those various information pop-ups that I'll be keeping on screen for just a second, so if you want to read them then feel free to pause the video and stuff like that. But we're going to be beginning with the three main aspects of the tutorial. That is the building tutorial, the fighting tutorial, and the spells tutorial. Now, those are the three things that are pretty much the focus of the game. And that's pretty much what the game can be divided up into. So we're going to begin nice and simple with the building tutorial. Shaman will pray at that, giving us a nice little twirly animation that takes up a little bit of time, but obelisks are fairly rare throughout the game, so it's not going to be a huge deal. And we get ourselves a very first look at the sort of controllable the followers, I guess, the Braves. Now what they do is they build stuff. We can select numerous of them by dragging and clicking, and by selecting a hut plan from the buildings panel on the left, we are able to lay down a plan, change the entrance using the sidebar, and then select some Braves to build it. And we can also have Braves inside huts. That is a small hut, which contains a total of 3 followers in total. As warriors, followers even, stay inside huts, then the green bar will start getting more and more filled up. That means that a Brave will be created upon that completion, and the red bar on the right will also be filled up, allowing it to get closer to an upgrade, letting huts get bigger, allowing to have more followers. So at the moment, the Braves will have a look around, see if there's any wood, chop the wood down, and build the hut. It's fairly simple. And upon completion of a new hut, if you still got room in your followers, then it will create a brand new follower. So 2 Braves per hut is usually the best idea, because you'll get your 3rd Brave almost immediately. Braves inside huts will produce mana, which is a little bar on the left, the one I'm highlighting right now. And we can have a tutorial just there, but there's a couple of things I still want to go over. Firstly, depending on the level, because, you know, the AI is a little bit interesting in this game, let's say the least, it will depend on whether or not they actually go inside their huts automatically, so you have to select them and put them in. So there are 3 different types of huts. We've got the small hut, which is what they are now. We've got a few different designs. The medium hut and the large hut, we'll be seeing those soon. And we've got ourselves the followers panel, the sort of followers. We've got the total followers, which is the green bar, and we also have the sort of screen view or overall view, which is how many followers are on the screen at once, and it's a little bit finicky. It's something I don't really use very often because it's not all that useful. And that's just how many Braves there are in total. So we have 11 Braves in total, and our total population can be a lot more than that, as the fact that there's some white space above the green bar. And by pressing Ctrl and Shift we can select more Braves or more followers or what have you. And pressing Shift we can select all of them. And then holding Shift and pressing the hut button will make Braves automatically go into any huts if there's room. And as you can see, our population's rising up quite a bit, and the red bar is nearly full. Once it gets nearly full, a Brave from that hut will go out, find some wood, and plonk it down in front of the space. This is something that'll get kind of irritating later if there's no wood around, but if there is some in nearby buildings that are also trying to upgrade, they'll steal each other's wood and just be a constant circle through, which is just really annoying. They'll collect 3 piles of wood, each shortening a tree down by 1. A tree has 4 bales of wood to offer, and once all 4 have been used up, it's gone. They do grow back eventually, but once it's gone, it takes a long time to grow back, like a really long time, or it's just growing somewhere completely new. And annoyingly enough, when the construction starts from a small to a medium hut or a medium to a large hut, the brave that collected the wood usually won't join in. They will just ponk the wood and just go, oh, AI, stand outside for a bit, which does get kind of annoying. But we don't really want to stick around, wait for a large hut. I think we'll end the building tutorial here. So we're going to create the obelisk, and then we're going to be moving on to the next tutorial. The reason why I'm a little bit unsure about this, having this video actually in, is because it's becoming quite an info dump. As you see, I've been talking pretty much non-stop since we started, because there's a lot to introduce in this game. So I'm unsure if I should have that in the levels, of spreading it out, or just have it here just so it's here, so I don't have to, like, you know, constantly talk about it in the main game. But regardless, we're now going to go into what the shaman is useful for, and that is the spells. Now, we've got the spells panel on the left, with many different spells. The ones with question marks are ones we can obtain in this level, and the ones that are blank are ones that, you know, we'll get in future levels or whatever. And here I am showing off the various sort of zooms that we can have. There's the really up nice and close one. Something I should have shown off when I was doing the building things, but I kind of forgot. So stoneheads grant temporary uses, indicated by the red dots. So we've got one use of a lightning spell. Now we've got the range of the spell, as you can see by the blue ring or the white wavy lines, and I'm showing off the zoom thing again. If you press the minus button, then you'll have, there's 4 different levels of zoom. There's the really close up, there's the normal, there's the bird's eye view, and then there's the world view. Now, there's a little bit of an interesting sort of message there, saying that we destroyed the guard tower, when in fact lightning kills the occupant inside, definitely, but it only does 1 bale of damage. If a brave comes along and fixes it, then the thing will be back to normal again, so it's not really that big deal. Totem poles are semi-rare. They change the landscape in certain ways, and they're usually, because there's 3 different land spells that we'll be getting in the future. And we've got ourselves a Vault of Knowledge. This means that when we pray this, we'll get this permanently for whatever is in the top. There is a spell that we're going to obtain. And we are going to be having this for the rest of the future levels that we have. So we've got ourselves the spell of Blast. So interesting what that kind of does. And you'll probably be able to guess quite easily. Pretty short range, as you can see from the world view. And yeah, cast a fireball. And when we cast it, it starts charging up. It charges up using the mana, and depending on how much mana we have, depends on how fast it charges up. And since Braves are related to mana, and since we have no Braves, we've therefore got absolutely barely any charging rate. As you see, it's taking absolutely forever. But Blast is very useful as a sort of, like, you know, knock enemies about. It pretty much kills a Brave with 1 hit, and a couple of other followers. They don't have too much health, and they'll be sent flying. And if Braves or even the Shaman falls into water, they will die. There's no swimming in this game, absolutely none. It's very deadly. So we have got our own guard tower, which increases our range. The higher up we go, the more range we'll have on our spells. So you can see by the white sort of mountains, as it were. And we'll be able to have some spells go very far indeed. But that'll be for when we obtain them. In the meantime, however, the spells tutorial is all done and dusted. And we've got a lovely spell Blast for when we need it in the main game. It's a very useful spell, and I'll be using it quite a bit, mainly as a panic button. But now we're going to be going on to the third aspect. Once we have got our Braves building up a nice settlement full of lovely huts, and we've got some lovely spells, well, we need to go and attack the enemy, and that requires fighting. And fighting is fairly simplistic in this game, but there's a couple of interesting aspects to it that will unlock as we go further into the main game. But for the first few levels, there's going to be dudes punching dudes. So, we've got our very first island, which will contain a warrior training hut and 2 Braves. There are a few different huts in the game that we can build that will allow us to turn Braves into more experienced warriors. It is dependent on your mana, so the more mana you have, the quicker things will train. so that's why it's taken forever. Thankfully, however, it's half the time it usually does in the main game, otherwise we'd be here forever. And, you know, we can move around the ship whilst we're doing it. And, of course, we've got lovely pathing AI, which is not very good. Yeah, the shaman is going to be spending her entire time in this tutorial trying to find a way down there, but she has no way, even though it says we can walk there. If a warrior or a follower can't get to a location, then they'll raise their hands in the air like they just don't care, and they'll lose health as they do so if you ever get stuck. So no follower will ever technically get stuck because you can just have them die. But if you make them go somewhere where they can go, then it'll be fine. So that's how you train warriors. Warriors are much stronger than braves, as you can probably guess. And even though they're holding a sword and a shield, they only use the shield. But we've got ourselves the fighting, which is literally just punching a dude. A brave versus a brave fight will go on for a little bit, and you can see the health that they have, but since this is a tutorial, you've got loads more health than you usually would, so we're easily going to kill this guy. When followers are low on health, they will have those weird starry things above their eyes, and that means they're close to death. Now the warrior can face up against a lot more braves. A warrior is very strong, and a pack of warriors will pretty much decimate and then load of followers, but there are ways to stop a warrior by use of another class called the Preacher. Now the Preacher is very interesting because he has no combat abilities. The Preacher he can't attack, but if he gets close enough to an enemy, they'll come at him and stop dead. Warriors will be completely defenseless against him, and he will preach them over to your side. The only ones that can't be preached are enemy preachers and enemy shamans, for obvious reasons. But up against a certain force, a preacher can pretty much stop an entire army. They are one of the most dangerous enemies in the game, or followers at least. But now that everyone's all dead and drowned, we are done with the fighting tutorial. It'll get a bit more, and my shaman's still wandering around, but we can stop that. So yeah, we'll have more aspects of that as we go further into the main game, but for now the tutorial just gives us the very simple basics. And I hope that you also understand what kind of game we've got here. And I hope you enjoy what is going to be coming along. And with the level complete, it's time for us to go. And that annoying cry does keep on going. Even though we haven't technically killed every single enemy, there's still another enemy that we have yet to see. See you then.